Hello everyone. Today I will refute the claim that illegal immigration benefits the economy in America. And my main point about, my main idea of that refutes this is that my opponent failed to look at all aspects surrounding the situation. My opponent's first claim or first point was that illegal immigrants contribute to the local and federal taxes. However, my opponent failed to mention anything about income taxes specifically. The main point was towards how immigrants how immigrants contribute a lot to property taxes and sales taxes. However, Hunter Holman, who is the project coordinator for the EPC immigration project, states that most immigrants are paid under the table for their work, and so they do not pay for their income. And this has led the Federation for American Immigration Reform to find that illegal immigration costs U.S. taxpayers about $113 billion a year at the federal, state, and local level. Now my opponent's second point was that illegal immigrants increase the percentage of gross domestic products, and their main point towards that was how they mentioned that illegal immigrants are the foundation for various industries in Wisconsin, such as forestry, farming, and fishing. However, they failed to mention how illegal immigrants aren't a reliable workforce because of constant raids by immigration and customs enforcement that are occasionally conducted in the U.S. In fact, Mr. George J. Borges, who is an American economist, actually cites an occasion where a chicken processing plant named Cider Inc. was raided by immigrant agents, and 75% of its workforce vanished over a single weekend. And this shows how because of the legal implications of hiring illegal immigrants, due to the legal implications of hiring immigrants, they should not be considered a reliable workforce, and so they can't properly, or they can't consistently add to the gross domestic product. Now, my opponent's third point was that illegal immigrants are paid low wages. However, the way that my opponent presents this, it does not seem directly relevant to her argument. She goes and presents a study on how CBS CEOs are paid more than regular employees. However, they failed to mention, or they failed to make any connection to illegal immigrants directly. So thus, it is not very relevant to her argument. Now, in summary, my opponent brought up some good points. However, they do not look at the full situation and everything surrounding it, and thus, while they used very, I would say, good sources, these sources also are a bit biased, or they fail to see other implications. Thank you.
right, well, labeling of the main claim was fine. Your general counter argument is that there's a lack of completeness of the issues that are being discussed. On the tax issue, for instance, I think that you want to make the argument that says, simplify your argument and says all of the advocate's evidence failed to take into account income tax issues, and then you've got some data that says once we talk about that, there's $113 billion a year that's going out on income taxes that is not coming in, and that leads to an imbalance that's going to outweigh whatever the property tax things are or the sales tax things are. I think that's the general argument that you're making there. You need to simplify that claim. As it is, you just kind of present the information. You got to make the inference to follow up with that also. The notion that they are not reliable employees because they are subject to detainment or deportation or particular problems, it's kind of an odd argument to be making because that the source of the problem is in fact the enforcement of the law. That seems to be almost contradictory, but you do have a good point here that suggests that trying to rely on this segment of employment is problematic because they are transitory, they are subject to a variety of pressures, and that it's perhaps dangerous here. But you've only got the one illustration to make that inference from, and I think that's a little problematic. The argument about low wages, you don't really... I guess the argument that you're challenging, this is the one place where you go directly for the advocate's evidence and say they presented evidence about CVS executives and what their wages are and comparing that to other people's executives, and say there's no explanation about how this is connected to the point that they're presenting. I think that's fine. You have no further argument on the wage issue, so your only response on that point is to challenge the way they're using their evidence there. That's a good start, but I think it would be helpful if you had some data on this. At the end, when you're summarizing, just remind us of the points that you're saying. Say they failed to account for all of the income issues and all of the expenses that illegal immigration represents, that the reliability of the workforce is problematic, and there's no proof about the impact on wages benefiting the culture. And keep it simple on those claims. All right, thank you.